Welcome on our channel, QHCL Barjilani. If you are new on our channel, please subscribe the channel. If you are our existing subscriber, please watch the video from start up to the end. In this video, we will discuss about the ISO 14001-2026, the new revision. We will discuss the history of the EMS or the ISO 14 revision cycle, and after this, why it was needed to be revised. So the reasons of the revision and what are the changes in the ISO 1401-2015 versus ISO 14001-2026, the current standards. So now let's start the video. ISO 14001-2026. So now let's come to the history. When we are talking about the history of the ISO 14001, it was first published in September 1996, and this was the first edition. Then ISO 14001-2004. So it was revised the first major revision. This was first edition, then first major revision. This was the major revision, and this was the revision 2. Then published it was then the third one published in 2015 strategic EMS transformation. This was the third. And now the current one is the ISO 14001-2026 Sustainability and Future Focused Revision. Sustainability and Future Focused Revision, published in April 2026, is the fourth revision of the standard. So 1996 first, then 2004 the second one, 2015 is the third one, and the current one is the 2026 is the fourth one, a revision or edition. So why it was needed to revise this? So now global environmental challenges have intensified. Globally, we are facing challenges. So globally, environmental challenges have intensified. Organizations are now facing more serious environmental pressure than in 2015, including climate change impacts, biodiversity loss, pollution escalation, natural resources depletion, ecosystem degradation. The revised standards now explicitly requires organizations to consider environmental conditions as part of the EMS context and planning. Like we are just only pollution escalation, because before this there were many trees, but now we cut the forest, deforestation. And apart from this, the carbon footprint also increase. Now we have lot of vehicles that we didn't have this in the 2015. So now the pollution or the carbon or carbon dioxide level has been increased. Now, need for stronger sustainability integration. Modern business are expected not only to control environmental impact but also to contribute to sustainable resources use, ecological preservations, climate reliance, responsible life cycle thinking. ISO 14 2026 strength environmental policy commitment in these areas. The third one is greater demand for risk-based environmental governance. Organizations today must proactively manage environmental risk, compliance exposures, emergency environmental events, supply chain environmental impacts, plan organizational changes. This is why the revised standard introduced clear planning clauses and a new requirement for planning and managing change, like subclass number 6.3 added new. This class was not in the 2015 revision. Now, need for better demonstration of EMS effectiveness. Certification bodies and stakeholders now expect evidence that the EMS is not just implemented but actually effective. So, that ISO 14 2026 emphasize on the effectiveness of the management system for the continual improvement. Therefore, ISO 14001 2026 places more emphasis on evaluation, measurable outcomes, documented evidence availability, then management review effectiveness, objective-based auditing. Once we have the objective, then for this objective-based auditing will be there. So at more focus on the auditing techniques. Alignment with modern ISO harmonized structure. ISO has been updating all management system standards to ensure consistent terminology, easier integration, stronger leadership accountability, improved documented information control, common risk and change management language. Thus, ISO 14001 2026 align EMS with the latest ISO management system thinking. Now, in this, we will discuss what are the major changes in the ISO 14001 2015 and ISO 14001 2026 revision. So, environmental, now, first area we are discussing over here is the environmental context. So, 2015, the general issues. Over here in the ISO 14, the current standard 2026 revision, explicit environmental conditions. Compliance wording, compliance wording used before 2015, fulfill obligation, but over here meet obligations. What are the obligations? Should be meet. Now scope, organization boundary. Over here, life cycle influence. In the scope, what we have, what type of services we provide or what type of products we are providing. We have to consider the full life cycle from the raw material up to the end of life of the product. Now planning, risk, opportunities mixed over here. But here, separate documented classes. Now, change management. If there is some management of change, MOC, not explicit, not too much obvious. Over here, new subclass we have for this 6.3. The new subclass added to the ISO 14001 2026. Documentation. For the documentation in the ISO 14 2015, they were using the organization will maintain or retain the documented information. But now available as documented information. So for when there is requirement of the document, there will be the wording used instead of documented information. They are using available as documented information. Now performance, monitor and measures. Over here, evaluate effectiveness. And I 2015 standard monitor and measures. Now over here, evaluate effectiveness. Evaluate the control measures we are providing effective or not effective. Now we go one by one in class number 4 here. 4.1 class number subclass 4.1 understanding the organization and its context. Over here, such as pollution level, availability of natural resources, climate change, biodiversity or ecosystem health. So over here, these sentences and wordings and terminologies has been added to the subclass of ISO 14001 2026. So this is the addition of wording. So over here, more emphasis on the sustainability. Now we are coming to the second subclass, the need expectation of interested parties. To consider the 6.1.3, including the environmental conditions relating to the stakeholders. This note 1 and note 2 also new. Relevant interested parties can have needs and expectations related to environmental conditions such as pollution level, availability of natural resources, climate change, biodiversity or ecosystem health. Note number 2, the relevant needs and expectation of interested parties other than legal requirement become a compliance obligation when the organization decides to comply with them. So it becomes a compliance obligation for the organization. Now, once we come to 3, over here in the scope, over the life cycle of its activities, products and services, the scope shall be available as, now see, documented information and shall be available to interested parties. Now let's come here. 5.2. In the 5.2, the policy, environmental policy, the wording fulfill has been changed to the wording meet its compliance obligation. So meets means over here, it is like the minimum requirements. Now, in the note we have preservation or conservation of natural resources. So it emphasizes the preservation or conservation of natural resources. Now, international standards delete from the text change for clarity in line with the intended outcome language. Examples and structure remain consistent. This is in the 5.3. Now, these wordings that are the red words over here deleted. Now, when we are coming here, emergency situation. We have in 8.2 the emergency class number, subclass number 8.2 emergency situation added here. So this is the new potential emergency situations. Now come here. Six point 1.3 compliance obligation. So maintain no more. It's changed to available. Available as documented information. Before it was be maintained as documented information. Now available as documented information. Now environmental objective 6.2.1 available as documented information F. Now this is the new subclass in the class number 6. So when the organization determine the needs for changes that the affect or can affect the environmental management system, the changes shall be carried out in a planned manner. So there will be, if there is some changing coming, it should be, there will be some planning for this. The changes shall be managed to ensure that the organization can achieve the intended outcomes of its environmental management system. Note number 1, the need for change to the environmental management system can arise from internal external resources. So A6.3, for example, in the standard is there. Note number 2, managing changes in and address in various requirements in the document C6.3, for example, okay? Now, over here in the competence, let's see, in the competence 7.2 subclass, fulfill change to meets and compliance obligation. Appropriate documented permission shall be available. Now over here, awareness also fulfill change to meet the organization compliance. Now communication, appropriate documented information shall be available for the communication, internal and external. Now 7.4.2 internal communication. So control to contribute to continual improvement. Okay, 8.1 available as documented information. 8.2 shall be available as documented information. As we check this in 6.3 also, over here they give the reference was there. Now the general shall be available as evidence of the monitoring. Again here, evaluation compliance shall be available as evidence. Define the audit criteria and scope for each audit. But over here, audit objective is important. Now the general scan new management review. Then 6.3.2 management review input. Audit results. The audit result over here, the new, they added here in the management review input. So in the management review, we will also take the input from the audit result, and this is more important. Management review results. What are the results? Now, continual improvement in 10.2 conformity and corrective action. Subclass 10.1, before it was the general, it is deleted now. Before there was general, 10.1 was general, and this was the continual was the 10.2. So now they delete the 10.1 general subclass. If you have any question regarding this video, please give your comments in the comment section and we will reply to your comments. Thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next video. The requirements, the description of all classes of ISO 14001 2026 standard, and we'll see you with the next video. Thank you very much.